Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie.
Join us for unbuttoned and unedited conversations.
Hi, welcome back to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie. And we're excited to welcome Miranda McDougall. Welcome, Miranda.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us. It's been really great to start getting to know you a bit. You are on season 12 of When Calls the Heart on Hallmark Channel, playing Edie Martell. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about coming in as a brand new character onto, such an established show.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, what can I say? It's been such a warm welcome. And I know I've said this a few times, but it's honestly true. And I think that that's from a fan base perspective. It's so cool entering a show that one has been on for so many seasons. So you have 11 seasons post introduction of Edie. And that means like 11 seasons of people caring about this story and this place, these people. So to enter into that, it's, I've kind of likened it to like meeting your best friend's family for the first time, and you don't really know them, but everyone knows each other really well, and being welcomed not only by the cast and the crew, but also the Hardy fan base has been super cool. And just, yeah, I'm so grateful to have landed in a really special place for now. So yeah, it's been lots of fun.
So what did you think when you first were auditioning for Edie about your character, and how has she kind of evolved after you kind of were cast as her?
Yeah, I was really drawn right away to her intelligence and her wit and her agency. She's a super independent woman of this time period, being a lawyer, inheriting this ranch. She's got a lot of responsibility. She's confident, kind of direct in a way that was really fun to play. But I have found over the course of shooting the season, it was really nice to unpack her softer side and maybe her more honest side, a bit more vulnerable, which we're starting to see. Episodes 8 and 9, we start to see some honesty and some layers peeled back. So I always love getting to tackle a character that goes through that kind of journey. I think we all, as people, we begin an interaction with a certain facade. I think we all work to not exist in that way and just present as our true selves, but there's like protection and fears and walls that we have up. So playing Edie, who does have those walls and does have that a bit of a, buttoned up, not unbuttoned, I should say. Suspenders.
She is not unbuttoned.
Buttoned all the way to the top. And starting to see her relax into herself and be comfortable with certain people that she's met in her life. Yeah.
So she's very buttoned up, suit, hair is up, glasses are on. Mm-hmm. Is that ever gonna
I don't know. Who knows? I think from a practical perspective, I'm like, well, we've established that she wears these glasses. Surely she can't take them off now.
Right.
We've never seen her without them. And so we do want her to see. And I know that's a big question, is like, when's Edie going to take those glasses off and take the hair down? The hair, maybe, I don't know, maybe. The glasses, I think we might have to wait for the invention of contacts, which I think we were researching on set one day. Like,
maybe Ned will invent them.
But I like wearing the glasses. I think they're really a sweet addition to her character, and it's like that extra little piece that you get to put on and look in the mirror and be like, okay.
And it really makes her Edie. Like,
it does make you feel like Edie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone else wears glasses so consistently.
No, right. Because although Kevin needs his, he doesn't wear them consistently.
Lee has got 20/20 vision, that guy. Regardless, I'm sure Kevin has great vision too, but Lee.
Yeah, because Lee does wear the glasses sometimes. So
he does, but I feel like
he's all seeing and all knowing, right?
Yeah. At least he can take them off though. So I'm presuming that he has, reading glasses. I think we need an optometrist is what we need. To move to Belly.
Right. Maybe a love interest for Faith.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh, a medical love interest.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah. Great idea.
So you mentioned about Edie and how we're just starting to see some of these layers maybe starting to peel back, or we're getting peeks into them. When you were first presented with the role of Edie, did you know anything about how her character might start to evolve, or were you discovering that along with, everybody else?
What else? I was discovering along. I didn't know when you get these roles and you're just like, okay, it's going to be a certain number of days on set, but I didn't really have any indication of how many episodes she would be in. I certainly didn't think it was going to be as many as it ended up being, which was such a nice surprise. Because, it's a big cast as it is, and people come in and out all the time. And I think it's important to have those tertiary characters that impact the main characters' lives. So I just kind of assumed that would be Edie's role for a couple of episodes, but her story just kind of kept evolving, and I was able to make some quick character decisions alongside the scripts that were coming in, and it was really exciting to feel her kind of get a little bit deeper ingrained into this town and the story that is circulating this season.
Yeah, can you give us an example of like a character decision you might have made?
Ooh,
that you did make?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think like I think just her journey of relaxing into herself. When the more episodes that kind of came to my desk that had Edie as a part of Lucas's storyline, it was a choice to really kind of plan out, like, when does she keep her cards not as close to her chest, like, and I know the card theme is a thing that we see often with Lucas and Edie this season, but when does she give little bits of herself, like how family is important to her and how the land is important to her and how honoring a legacy is important to her. And so kind of like chipping away at that hardened facade we had kind of talked about, and hardened, maybe that feels a little bit
guarded,
extreme, but guarded a little bit more. And like coming from a place where she's lost her parents, her uncle died just about a year ago. She was in this relationship. She broke the marriage off. So she's coming to Hope Valley with her own hurt and pain, and then kind of collides with this person who's also dealing with some hurt and pain surrounding his personal life and questions surrounding his professional life. So kind of like allowing that collision to decide when, as the actor, you start to kind of soften and make her a bit more casual versus the very like, hi, I'm Edie Martell properness of the first few episodes.
I kind of love that Edie Martell came in with 2 jobs. She's a lawyer and a ranch owner. Seems very Hope Valley. The more jobs you can have in Hope Valley, the more likely you are to belong. I mean, we currently like owns everything.
I know, everyone talk about, if anyone wants to learn how to be an entrepreneur, just start watching One Calls the Heart and you will own a business.
Right. Honestly. But was that fun to bring a character that's both being a lawyer and is running a ranch she knows nothing about?
Totally. And that's why it's almost, I hesitate to even think about it as 2 jobs, because it's more one job and one responsibility that I don't think she ever really expected. Because even like she talks about visiting the ranch as a girl and spending summers there, but I mean, she didn't have the responsibility that comes with being responsible if a calf gets loose, and being, keeping eyes on where are we going to feed this cattle, and is the pasture going to be accessible, and then couple that with representing, an entire facet of people who are also ranchers and cattlemen. And so is that a conflict of interest? Is it, and she doesn't really have a choice, because if she's, left this ranch by an uncle and a family member that meant so much to her, she was never going to say no. And I don't think there are really other people that could have taken it on. So yeah, it was fun to balance, and it was nice to feel like an expert in one thing and then a total newcomer in another.
Yeah. Like very out of her element.
Oh, totally. Yes. It's like, okay, I was used to treasure hunts and the occasional horseback ride. I'm not like rescuing cattle as a child on this farm.
Okay. Speaking of rescuing.
We have to.
We have to talk about that scene. We had Elise Slate Rogers on the podcast already.
Right.
who directed that scene. So Evie and Lucas go out because she's got cattle out. They got out. She forgot to close the door. Like, things that you get yelled at as a child when you're visiting the ranch. Yes. But then there was nobody there to yell at her to like make sure you shut
and no one there to rescue it for her. It's
right.
It's falling on her now.
So she knows nothing and Lucas knows nothing, and they end up in the pasture. So okay, how much fun did you guys have filming that scene?
It was very fun. It was a warm, sweaty day, which was the perfect day to be chasing a calf around a field. It was really fun. It was a very animal-focused day. We were riding horses in the morning. We were chasing after calves in the afternoon, but it was really fun. And it was super impressive to watch Chris kind of yeehaw his way into the first all his. Yeah. I know. And he did it on the first try, which I think I've said several times, and I maintain that truth. He did it on the first try. But it was so much fun. And it's always, those moments are great because you kind of have the whole crew like waiting. Is he going to do it? Is he not? We're so used to, okay, we said it. Lighting looks beautiful. Set looks beautiful. Actors come in. We shoot our scene. It's in a normal place. But I always love those things that feel a little bit more out of the ordinary. And of course, on a set like One Calls the Heart, it's less rare to have, interactions with horses and cattle because there's kind of a mainstay to this world that we're building. But it is still fun to. It feels like a field trip almost. Like we're all waiting for the big event, and he nailed it. And he did it so well that the seam of his pants gave him a round of applause and wide open.
Chris has announced that he ripped out his pants. Well,
he did. We've all been there, and we all were kind of like, "Oh, what was that? Did we? That's either an injury or." As Chris has said, I think a toot. So, and it was neither. I was like, I hope that's not his back or his knee giving out.
Right.
But no, it was just a humble seam
rip.
Aren't
you glad that they nixed the mud idea? Because originally we heard it was
the first script we got. It was in the mud. I was like, mud wrestling? What's going on?
What in the mud wrestling is happening here?
I know. Like they've just met. What's going on?
This is not very Hallmark.
No, not at all. So I think the switch to a pasture was perfect, and I think it did the same thing. And I know I think Chris spoke to this too. Is like you want to get to what is the part of the scene that what's kind of like the nucleus of it. What are we trying to establish here? What are we trying to tell from a storytelling perspective? And does that need to happen with this added layer of there being mud everywhere? I don't think so. I think it makes the day easier for everyone. I'm sure that costumes, very happy. I'm sure that even things like continuity, I'm sure Jen, our script supervisor, was happy that there wasn't mud because it's like, okay, well, she had mud over here and we had to reset, and then there was mud on her face, but it's not in that shot. So where did the mud go? And anything with those added elements, I think it's great the decision to go without it, and I appreciated staying only sweaty instead of muddy and sweaty. I was just
sweaty,
right? So with that scene, what was the feeling, the point they were trying to get across there?
Yeah, a couple of things were happening, right? There had to be the reveal of the fact that Edie is not engaged, and start to maybe lay the seed for lay the groundwork for a potential relationship between these two characters. I think it was necessary for them to see each other's humanity and take it out of the office and into this space where Edie probably played on that field growing up, and it gave her a chance to really feel young again. And I remember when shooting that scene, I was thinking kind of like from the heart of the character of like, wow, when was the last time I felt this kind of unbridled joy just running around, and to have that happen on a piece of land that means so much to me. And then with this new person that I kind of feel something toward, whether or not she could kind of put words to that at that point. Right. I think that was important. Yeah.
Yeah. So that the ring reveal was a big deal in that scene. And she revealed that she wore it for unwanted to push off unwanted attention. But just
Right.
having a ring on, it's like you lose some of those maybe men coming to give attention that she just doesn't want, wasn't interested in. Plus, she's working as a lawyer. She's trying to focus. But how do you view the ring in Edie's story? It's kind of interesting that it's played this important part because it's also her tell.
Exactly. It is her tell. And it's something that I think, yeah, I'm trying to imagine myself, working as a lawyer, a very male dominated field, especially in the 1920s, and how I think the most important thing would be to be taken seriously and to be respected. And I think that was just an added layer of, hey, don't try anything with me. It feels safer to be, with someone, or if taken, for lack of a better word. But I think that it was a security blanket for sure. And then also this kind of this nervous little tick of hers is important for the rest of the story. And it's important because I don't think that she really is ever able to hide anything from Lucas. And I think it's important that we see from the get-go that there's really no point in, trying to have secrets or anything but honesty in this relationship, which I like, because I think that leaves room for the possibility of like a really honest relationship. When you meet someone and you can tell right away, like, hey, I know there's something going on. And then it gives Edie the choice. Do I either keep up this facade and I keep, twiddling my ring finger and keep putting on this act? Or do I level with this person that I'm starting to care about? And ultimately we see that the seeds of that kind of just started in this past episode when we were able to witness Edie being honest with Lucas about something that's maybe really big and shameful for her.
Yeah.
Yep. And I when we're watching this beautiful scene out in the field, and they have that moment, and they have the moment of the honesty and realness, and then we've continued watching a few episodes later, and all their scenes now seem a lot more quiet, or in a tighter space, just them, where that one's just like wide and bright. And now we're kind of seeing like they're in a dark saloon playing cards, or they're in his office late at night. We'll see them eating at the diner again, or the cafe. So why do you think these little, they're quiet scenes, I guess you could say, but she's really making big waves in his life and in the storyline in his arc for the season? So why do you think these scenes are so small and quiet? Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. I really like that question. No, I haven't been asked that. I think that as you were describing that, it feels kind of like this roller coaster, and it feels like it does kind of mimic the way perhaps relationships kind of begin, or friendships, whatever it might be in the real world. And that, there's kind of this big outward meeting. You're showing one side of yourself. The stakes don't feel really high because you don't know what this person is going to end up meaning to you. And then you have that, so you saw that with the first kind of like boisterous meeting full of confidence. And then you saw that in the train sequence where it was kind of like brighter and quicker and snappy and kind of, like a funnier, quippier relationship.
Banter.
And then you get the joy of the cattle scene and the freeness and the youthfulness of that. And then things start to kind of like turn a corner where it's, okay, we have a decision to make. Things are getting a little more serious. We're starting to see how we implicate each other's lives for both the good and also the challenging, the complicated. So I think that perhaps Lucas and Edie's.
Lukey, let's go with it.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's it. Lucas and Edie's relationship.
Make that happen.
That's so funny. Their relationship is at a place where it has to maybe have a little bit more tension right now, and they're working through things, and perhaps like they feel more confined within themselves, and thus that's reflected in the shooting and the staging of these scenes. And not to give anything away, but I do think that we're going to feel pretty. There's the arc of those scenes. Let's just say it's that arc is not finished yet. So I think we're due to see maybe a bit more of what was reflected in some of the earlier scenes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
They even had some, maybe. They had some nice push and pull on those train scenes. We've had multiple train scenes with different people, but
Yes.
they had a couple that were just a lot of like.
That was such a fun scene to shoot. Yeah, with the newspaper and the reveal and the everything. It was such a tight scene, and
space and how the lines go. Like
yes, exactly. And that's it, like the quippiness. And then I think we've just seen in episodes 8 and 9 a little bit, even the pace with which they're speaking to each other. It's like they're really listening to each other instead of just thinking about the next, thing that they're going to say, the next little like tap back.
Right.
And that's
a moment of like almost like disappointment, like yeah, like a little like, wait, you're doing what?
yes, exactly. In the cafe scene,
well, with the cattleman too, like
right. Oh, of course, I know the moment of will she, won't she? What's the decision?
Yes,
and the struggle too, because that's not what Edie wants at all.
No, I love how you played it, because you could tell like Edie was like struggling, like she's staying with, because you can tell she's not feeling it.
Right.
With the cattleman.
Right.
No,
but she's representing them. That's her job.
Yes, and I think Edie's a good girl. She wants to do a good job, and she has to. Like this is what she has right now. She's poured so much into this, and not only is it her reputation as a lawyer, she has to do her job, and she has to follow the law.
Right.
And she also she's representing something that is such a close interest of her own, being this land and its future. And then, as we learn, there's a whole other layer with the loan that she had nothing to do with, but has basically inherited this seemingly unpayable loan from her family. So she's really at this total crossroads of following the heart and following the head. And I think like, hopefully we find a place where she's able to kind of both think and feel her way out of it, I guess.
Yeah, I really liked how she said, it feels so Hope Valley, but the more I stay in town, the more I see things in a different light, right? So it's becoming less black and white.
Yes,
for her.
Exactly. And with the park being in this limbo kind of place, I think it's almost a gift, because it's giving her time to make those big decisions that are otherwise scary, but I think that she ultimately, being a deeply good person who cares about doing the right thing, hard. Yeah,
because in episode 8, Edie actually is getting questioned by Nathan and Bill about her uncle's land, and does she know about the gold coins? And that's when we really get the reveal that she's got no bucks.
No, she doesn't have any money. And if she did, she would be doing something about it. But
she's in a better place.
I know. And that's really genuine too, when they ask Edie if she knew about any gang affiliations, or if she knew of any money or treasure. She genuinely is shocked to hear this news. It's a mixture of, I think, like 90% shock and 10% like, Ernie, I know you've left me in so much debt. Now you've left me with a judge and a Mountie. They're questioning me. Please stop. From beyond the grave, please stop. I know. And also she loves him, and she knows he's a good man. And it's something that's reiterated in the town several times, because I think Lucas mentions it, and then Bill mentions it. Yep. So he has this reputation of being a good person.
Right.
And I think that's a value in the Martell family, is like, be a good person, do the right thing.
Yeah.
And Edie is young, and she's still trying to navigate what does that look like? What does doing the right thing look like? And I think it means not always making the easiest decision,
I love that little moment that we got of Edie when she left in episode 8. She left the Mountie's office, and we got her alone, because I think that's the first time we've heard kind of her own thoughts, right?
Yes. Yeah. So true. The first time we kind of know what's going on beside, especially because it's kind of like the public persona, Edie, who still is new to this town. And I imagine haven't had too many meetings or interactions with these folks. It's clearly the
Directly.
first time that she's met Bill Avery. So that kind of putting on like a professional, I'm a lawyer. This is what I don't think it's anything dishonest. I just think it's her work
Right.
persona.
And she's going to bring that hat with when she is talking with the Mountie and the judge, right? She's going to bring that.
Of course, as any of us would. I feel like, we're not going to speak to a judge in the exact same tone that we like speak to our partner or child,
Right.
So it was such a great moment to have that kind of like, oh God, what's going on? Please make this stop.
And as viewers, I think we kind of thought we might get something to go with the investigation into the, the coin mystery, where are all the gold coins? And then we got like nothing. You're just like,
I know. I was like, I think everyone wants Edie to be a bit of a baddie, but
just like you want like something there. There's like, it feels just like something there, but now you just feel like Edie's stuck in the middle, same as everybody else.
Right? I know. Everyone kind of is. And that's the cool thing about it, right? Is that like, no one's quite good and quite bad in a way. Like, I think that everyone, as with people are fallible and everyone is going through their own thing and they have their own challenges and they're all just trying to work ultimately to do right by themselves and right by those that they care about. So.
Right. Yeah. No.
Did you have a favorite scene that you filmed for season 12?
Ooh, let me see. The train was really fun for sure. I liked shooting that scene. It was great. The first scene that I shot was the first scene that we see Lucas and Edie meet. So the scene that was great. I just think it was kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off the character. Like, okay, the decisions you make going into this scene are going to carry through. So just, know your stuff and really feel like you're playing the role that you would hope to see on the screen for this character. So that's always going to be really memorable. The first time stepping into that office. And I think that I definitely enjoyed, there's a couple scenes that we've yet to see that I did really, really like. The card scene, I think we saw in episode 7.
Yep.
It was really fun. And fun to see this other side of these characters, because I think that felt like the first time since the calf, because even then they didn't really know each other that well, but you got to see kind of like this a little bit more of a laid back and another side of both and Lucas, I think.
And I think they even kind of commented on that, like, or can we just play as friends?
Yes.
Kind of realize they're letting their guards down a bit.
Totally. Can we drop this? We are both human beings.
Right.
Let's just
let's just enjoy this connection.
Exactly. Clearly we find each other interesting and there's at least like a baseline friendship there.
Yeah. Enjoy the evening for what it is, right?
Totally. Allow myself to get absolutely smoked in a game of rummy. Which would not be the real life. I've got to say, like, I'm a bit of a card sharp in real life. So I don't think that if it was Miranda versus Chris, we would have had the same outcome.
Yeah, Miranda would have won.
Taking words, McNally.
Let's do that. So when you came in, when you were auditioning for this, did you do chemistry reads as part of your audition process?
Yes, I think it was one chemistry read in person with Chris and a few of the EPs. Mike Roll was there as he was directing that first episode. And it was lovely. It was pretty quick. Went in, we did 2 scenes. It was the first scene and then the scene on the train.
Oh, yeah.
I had quickly, I think I ran to like a Value Village or some type of Salvation Army secondhand store, and I grabbed a pair of glasses, but they had massive, thick prescription.
Yeah.
So, and I needed glasses for the read. I was like, I gotta come in as Edie. And so I was sitting at my kitchen table before going to the tape, just like quickly trying to jam these lenses out, like pressing with all of my might. And I was like, I got one. And then for a while I could only have one. So imagine I came in with like one that has nothing, the other one that I can barely see out of. That would have, I don't think I'd be talking to you today if I had gone with that choice, but I luckily got both of them out. And so I had my little fake Edie glasses. And
Okay, so Edie was written to have glasses.
yes, because in one of the scenes, I'm not sure I think that this line made the final edit, but he when Lucas is speaking to Edie on the train saying, you come in here, you're this school marm bespectacled. I don't even know how to say that. Yes. So that was a clue that she was wearing glasses. Yes. And so we've had glasses since day one. And it was funny when we first were fitting, because those are real vintage glasses. And so they switched out the lenses, one, so that they would be less reflective, and two, so that they were not prescription lenses, because they were also a high prescription from the 1920s or so. They're beautiful, these like old vintage glasses. But it was funny. We were trying them all on, and I would be looking in the mirror, and it's your first day in fitting. So I want to be like the most accommodating person ever. Like, yeah, everything looks great. I love it all. And so they kept asking me, what do you think of these? Do you like the way these look? Do you like the way these look? And I had to then be honest and say, I can't see anything. I can't see how I look because I can't see out of these glasses because they're so blurry. And finally they were like, oh, okay, no worries. We'll take a picture. Do these look okay to you? And then we landed on those Edie glasses, and thankfully we replaced the lenses.
It's a perfect look for her and gives her that extra layer too, a little bit,
Totally. Yes. And also, it's fun. I mean, like, who knows whether if we ever see Edie again, if those glasses will stick around, or her vision will magically come back overnight.
Maybe the hot springs will heal her.
Oh, maybe they have some powers, don't they?
They do. They heal everything.
They do. Okay, great. As long as she doesn't like dunk her head under and hold her eyes open, I feel like that could end poorly.
It's kind of like chocolate in Harry Potter,
Right? Exactly.
So we know. Do you see potential for more Edie storylines if there was a season 13?
I think so. Yeah, I think that with her connection to Hope Valley, she'll always have a tie there, and especially having now this ranch and hopes to open up a law office of her own somewhere between Hope Valley, Benson Hills. I know we kind of touched on the fact that there was not a huge surplus of office space in Benson Hills, so Hope Valley kind of makes sense. I think we see her starting to interact with other folks in the town, and I think she's realizing that maybe this is a place that she would like to see herself. And also, I think we can't really deny that obviously there is a chemistry and there's a spark between these two characters. And I think that I'm interested to see what might happen for the two of them, whether that's down the road of a friendship or a business partnership or a relationship. But I do think I would love to see what's next for Edie in Hope Valley. But who's to say what the future will hold?
Do you think that the backstory that Edie had been coming there since a child to visit her uncle's ranch gave her a little bit more of a present, like a foothold in Hope Valley, like a reason to be comfortable there?
I think so. I think a little bit. And then I also was thinking too about the development of the town, and perhaps it wasn't as, big and bustling when she was a child. So maybe it was less of a place that she would visit, and maybe her summers were spent a little bit more rural and actually quite up in the hills and on the ranch. So I think that she is familiar with Hope Valley for sure, but I don't think she ever had super close ties and strong roots to the town itself. And, this is a kind of, it lends itself to her feeling maybe like a little bit of an outsider, kind of, you have those places where you know of them and you feel kind of a part of them, but not quite. Right. And so this is a cool part in her life when everything feels new to her, and she's lost quite a lot and she's gained quite a lot. So it's a nice time in her life to have kind of like that personal confidence and wherewithal to step into a place that's felt both familiar and unfamiliar to her for her life.
Yeah.
Well, we hope she comes back.
Me too.
No, yeah.
I love her. I love playing Edie. I would be so honored to keep that character alive. But who knows, I'm just grateful for the time that I've had. So
Yeah. Have you ever been in a period drama like this before?
I have. Yes, I have. I have something coming up that's not out yet that is a film that's a period drama. And I've done a lot of theater in that capacity, and a lot of period dramas, just because so many classic plays and musicals are set in a non-modern timeline. So I definitely felt comfortable and had some experience with that, just playing of the period drama.
Right. Do you think like that costuming and like the glasses and all those pieces really help bring the character to life though?
Oh, totally. Oh my gosh. I find costume is just the most exciting final little piece. You do all your script work and you do your imagining, and then you step into this character, and between props and costumes and hair and makeup, it is such an outward transformation, that especially when it's a period piece, you hold yourself differently because the shoes are different, and the hemlines are different, and the skirts are different, and there's a waistcoat with Edie often, and a jacket, and there's such like a properness and an emphasis on kind of like poise and grace. And you think about what would have been important for women at that time too. And Edie, if she was, a person of means at this time, if her family had any type of money, or clearly she, was sent to law school. So she's in these environments where they care about like elocution and manners, and being a part of that society, I think really impacts the way that we would carry ourselves. And again, with, things like the costuming and footwear, so especially, right? So no one's walking around in Uggs.
Right.
We don't have the comfort of a slide-on Ugg in 1920.
Right.
Okay, so you have a musical theater background, correct? I think.
Yes, I do.
And we know that you also have produced and you write. So how did you get into this business? Did you always want to act and be involved in creating?
I did. I definitely did. I don't think I've ever seen myself doing anything else. I've always loved performing. I've loved acting. I've loved singing and dancing. I was a Highland dancer by the time I was 4. So my family is Scottish, hence my Scottish last name. And so I did that from the age of 4 till about, I think, like 16 or so. So it was a big part of my life. And then from there realized that I loved to dance and I loved to perform. And I did, I think, my first musical when I was 5, and didn't really stop after that. And it just kind of was one thing after another. As so many actors, we get our start in community theater, which I think is so important to any actor's journey, is just that repetition and starting young, learning the ropes. And I went to performing arts high school, singing, acting, dancing, and I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater in university, studied in New York and a bunch of other places. It never really felt like a decision. I kind of just got on the bus at age 5, and it just kept going. And I've been so grateful. And not to say that it's just been amazing job after amazing job. Right. Of course, there's the practicality of this industry, which is that, you're unemployed until you're not, and it's a flash in the pan, and then you are again. So I think that's where the diversification of jobs and skill sets was really attractive to me, because I have so many interests. I love to write. I really enjoy directing. I really enjoy the business side of this industry. I love helping get projects off the ground. I just really love to help stories come to life. So I got pretty good quickly at just kind of saying yes to anything and learning as I went, and having such amazing mentors and watching actors that I really admired. They weren't just acting, they were creating the films or the one woman shows or the theater pieces that they would act in. Or if they weren't doing that, they were helping a friend set deck something, or they were, learning how to direct and collaborate with cinematographers. And it just, to me, it feels so well, it's such a well-rounded industry if you can kind of like, I guess, humble yourself to be new at every part of it, which is challenging to do, but ultimately so rewarding and something that I hope to kind of be a student of many lanes my whole life.
That's quite the journey. So what was your first professional job? First thing you got paid for?
Oh my gosh, my first professional job. Oh, what was it? I think I was paid for a musical as a child. There was like something in collaboration with like a symphony orchestra that we were doing in music. I don't know exactly which one it was, but that wasn't, I guess, my first professional job. But I would say out of school, out of university, I did a production of Mice and Men in Toronto. And that felt like my first professional thing that I really like cared about. And it was
signed for, got paid.
Totally. Yeah. Felt like I was like, I've hit the big leagues now. Watch out, Broadway. But it was such a special show and an amazing cast, amazing direction. And it did quite well. So that was, I remember being really proud of that, but it's also the show that I would have done that for nothing because of the source material and the people involved. And that's kind of how I feel. This job is such a gift that you kind of, I forget sometimes that I'm also getting paid because it's so much fun. And that sounds kind of trite to say, but I mean it wholeheartedly, is that like often the work that you are enjoying the most, you would do time and again for nothing just because you love it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's what a blessing that is.
It totally is. My gosh. It's such it adds some value to that age-old cliche of loving what you do and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right. So you mentioned writing. What kinds of things have you written, or do you enjoy writing?
Yeah, I love to write. I love writing. I'm working on a few films right now, and I have a few kind of in the pipeline. I love writing. I write often for even like commercial work as well. I direct a lot in the commercial space or like the branded documentary space, music video ideation, creation. I've worked with so many cool artists, helping them kind of channel their vision for a song into a place on the screen. But that feels like more ideation than actually like script writing. But I've written a few plays and short films. I'm working on a film that is based on a very funny incident that happened at a wedding in my life. So that is, it's kind of in process right now. But I like things that feel nostalgic. I like things that feel female focused. I like things that are funny, but that are also really deep and poignant takes on our place in this very vast and wild world. So yeah, that's kind of where I tend to focus a lot of my creative spirit.
Do you have a dream thing that you would like to write?
Oh my gosh. Yes, of course. I actually just spent some time in my hometown of Windsor, Ontario. So I think my dream thing seems to change all the time. I find I'm always getting an idea and having to focus it and commit to 1 to 2 things that I'm trying to dream up. But I just spent some time in my hometown, and I haven't spent as much time as I had been. I was there for 2 weeks, and I realized that I hadn't been there for 2 weeks since I moved away when I was 18 years old. So I was kind of seeing the place in a new light, and I was just really inspired by it's a very, like a blue collar union town in Southern Ontario, Canada, and the realness and the rawness of life there. I mean, it's Canada, so it was February, it was cold, and people were going to work and feeding their families and trying to live their own little dream day by day. So I really love things that are profiles of people that maybe seem mundane on the surface, but have this beautiful big dream inside their heart or this big existence. So I was really inspired by being back there. And I think I would love to write something that kind of featured my hometown as a big key player in that piece.
That feels like a series.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a series. Okay, let's workshop it right now.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying.
How are we making it happen?
Yeah, if your hometown is the backdrop, and then the characters are people within the town. Like it's,
Totally, I know. Kind of sounds like another show we know.
Right. But no, like really, like it feels like a series that you're
It does.
telling.
No, I know. And that's the cool thing is like how you have these stories and what's the best medium for them? Like, is it a play? Is it a short film? Is it a series? Is it a feature film? So there's so many ways to kind of get these stories out there. And that's a huge part of, I think that's a huge part of being a really good creative producer is knowing. So Julie, maybe you are a creative producer because that's such a key is like knowing what's the vessel that this story fits in and how is it going to best make its way to an audience.
Right. Like it could be a movie of the week. Type
it
of
could
movie.
be totally could. Series, I love series. Man, there's so many great series that just we feel so invested in the lives of the people on a weekly basis or a hourly basis if you're binging, I guess.
Yeah, which is what most people do these days.
Exactly.
Right?
Do you prefer to watch something week by week or do you like to take it all in?
I like to binge, but my schedule is crazy. So
fair. I know for certain shows I like to. I kind of like it feels like I'm saving up where I know and I say like don't tell me. And then I experience it all as like an 8-hour movie when I have time.
Well, I never have an 8-hour stretch.
Me neither. I know. Maybe that's a dream of mine. What's my dream? My dream is 8 hours to watch something.
Yes.
We like to be able to grab things when we can. So if we've got a little time now, we'll watch a few episodes.
Right.
That fits more with our schedules and our lifestyle.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a couple things I watch weekly. When Calls the Heart is one that comes out very traditional.
Yes.
On a channel, but even like 1923 just started up.
Right.
Those all roll out weekly. So
right, and it's cool because then we get to be in charge of our own viewing schedule and watch when we can or when we're in the mood for a certain show.
Or just because you're working when it airs. So like right.
Exactly.
So,
okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Unlike it used to be, you used to just miss it then. Like it was
right. Or you'd have to like hit record.
Right, the DVR. Yes, the wait, come home. Yeah. If someone was to record over it, that would be devastating.
Then you didn't have it.
Yeah.
That happened to me in my life. Yes.
Oh, yes.
What can you tell us about So Glad You Came, a musical? I see that's in.
Oh, yes, that is a musical. Yes, that's a musical. That's very under kind of it's a big old secret, but it was a musical. We shot a feature film musical. I play a musician. So that was fun. I got to, obviously, given that it was a musical, do a lot of singing, and that is in post-production. There's it's still definitely in the bulk of its post-production phase. So yeah, excited about that. There was all original music, some amazing choreography. It was a really big labor of love. Lots of people poured lots of energy into that. So that one is a tight-lipped secret of the future.
Okay. People will look for that in the future. Absolutely. Do you have any other upcoming projects that we can look for?
Yes. Let's see. I have a film I'm really proud of. It's kind of lives in the true crime thriller space. It kind of just finished its festival circuit. It's called Hunting Matthew Nichols. And that was an absolute dream project from an acting perspective, from shooting. It was really, really fulfilling. And that will be looking for a home. Potentially, I think it'll toss up between a theatrical release. It'll definitely land on streaming. We're just kind of waiting for a few more festival opportunities before it makes its final welcome to the world. So that's really exciting. And what else? I have, this would have already aired, but it was a fun Hallmark film called Return to Office that I shot with.
Oh, yes.
Peter Benson directed it, and Janelle Parrish was so fun. I got to play her bestie. that was really fun. And then I wrapped a musical before the end of the year. It was Oliver. It was really fun. I got to play Nancy in Oliver, which was really cool. So yeah, I definitely, I had a busy last year, and it's funny because you do all that work, and then the rollout of your work is so extended, and I have to almost remember like what is out and what is still coming. But that's a lucky place to be, because I was definitely in a place where like what's happening for many years, which is the actor's dilemma for sure. So yes, I have I'm in a bit of a directing phase right now. Have a couple of projects on the go, a couple commercials, and in pre-production for a big feature film that I'm directing this year.
Nice.
You have great projects coming out.
I'm so lucky, and I think it's only due to really cool people that are leading the charge behind them, and I'm lucky enough to be brought along for any role that I'm wild enough to say yes to. So
I love that.
That's great. And we love Peter Benson too.
Peter is the best. What an amazing director. He's such a good guy. I know, he can act, he can direct, he can do it all. He's
and he's a great guy. Like as you said, just a great
such
guy.
A good person. There were quite a few One Calls the Heart folks on that.
Kevin and who
Eric Gow.
Eric Gow.
Yeah. I love both of them. Yes.
Yeah. So it was a hearty party.
Yeah, we were actually messaging with him, and he's like, "Oh, I've got good people."
Oh, that's awesome! Cool.
It's fun to see that. He's one of our favorite people. He's definitely in there. Yeah,
he is. He's such a special guy.
Miranda, would you play a little favorites game with us?
I love games.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Well, it's a fake game, but we still have fun. Do you
fine.
have
fake game, real game, any game?
A favorite rom-com?
Oh, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, that's so good. Iconic, right?
Easy. Yes.
Do you have a favorite TV series or something you're currently binging?
Okay, well, I am watching White Lotus every Sunday. Yes, I love that's a fun one. What am I currently binging? There's a series called Bad Sisters. There been 2 seasons of it. I've watched the first, was obsessed with it, and I am almost done the second season. So incredible performances. Those women are amazing. And I would watch anything that they do. So
is that one on Apple?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You're the second person to tell me, so now I need to watch.
So now we're like,
Not only do I just love it, and I'm also daily being like, my trip to Ireland. When am I going to Ireland? There's this thing called the 40-foot that they all jump off. I love swimming, and it just looks like the most wonderful.
Like
place.
you need to go do that.
Cool, but it's like a cliff that you jump off, and everyone swims in the water. Yeah.
Ireland is a bucket list for me. My grandfather used to teach at Trinity.
Cool.
And I've always wanted to go. So one of these days.
Me too. You and me both, sister.
One of these days.
Yes.
Okay. What about a favorite food?
My favorite food, I would say, this is kind of boring, but like I can crush a carton of raspberries like nobody's business. Like the little clamshells. Yep. To me, that's not like that's what's below a single serving. Like I need 2 of those, and then
the Costco size. You need the Costco size.
I need the double one. Absolutely. Yeah. And then if I'm picking them myself fresh, even better. Yeah. Aside from that, like I love, my family's all from the East Coast. So I'm a seafood girl too. Like I love a crab leg, of lobster. I love West Coast salmon. Yeah. So raspberries and seafood, I guess.
Perfect.
Hopefully not together. I don't think they need to live in the same pan. No.
Whatever. Do you have a hobby or something that you enjoy to do in your down free time?
Yes, downtime. Yes, I love to practice playing the guitar. I'm mediocre, so that's a very fun. I like to try to be like a beginner at something. I would say I'm not a beginner guitar player. I can play the guitar, but I love to keep honing those skills. I really like rock climbing as well. Mm-hmm. And that's been something over the past year that I've really gotten into. I love spending time outdoors. I love to ski when I can. We're pretty lucky in Vancouver that we have access to some amazing ski spots. So that's really exciting. And I love like I love helping my friends like design spaces in their home. And I like interiors, and I like kind of like crafty little DIY things. Do they always go as planned?
Okay.
No, not at all.
Not
But
at all.
no, and honestly, mine either. But that's okay. That goes back to being the beginner at something. So, yes, I'm kind of like, I'm looking for a new hobby right now, something that feels totally out of the wheelhouse of anything I've done. Do you have any recommendations? What's a hobby?
Everybody where I work is picking up crocheting, so that's
Ooh,
Oh, my teenager does that. Yes.
cool.
everyone.
I think it's hard. Knitting, I can do. Crocheting just feels so, like the motion feels backwards to me, but maybe that means I need to just get on board and try again.
Yeah, they all started with those Woobles kits, and now they're just like making.
Yes, they have those kits. Okay, maybe that'll be my next.
Now everybody's just making everything under the sun.
Yeah.
So
Right, I know we're in such a maker phase right now. I find people are excited about being tactile and making things.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got no suggestions for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, crocheting feels like that's the theme. Yeah.
That's the theme. Yeah. What about music? You have a big musical background. So what are you listening to? Do you have a favorite musician or band?
Ooh. Oh my gosh, I love music. I don't think I'm ever not listening to music. I'm pretty lucky in that I have a lot of friends who are musicians, so I get to see them often, and I think they're so incredible. My best friend is an amazing musician. Her name is Michaela Slinger. Go and look her up. She's wonderful. And she is, a beautiful songwriter and a beautiful singer and performer in her own right. There's an artist named Maddie Diaz. I love her. She's fantastic. I just saw Nathaniel Rateliff. I can never pronounce his last name. Nathaniel Rateliff in the Night Sweats. We saw he was in Vancouver, and just like energetic, fun, kind of like Americana folk, but with a rock band. So good. But I love all genres. I love Doechii. She's incredible. She just had an amazing Grammys performance. I love old music as well. My parents had great taste in music. My dad was like a huge Led Zeppelin fan and Dire Straits. So I'm definitely like a 60s, 70s rock gal as well.
Have you talked Dire Straits with Chris? He listed that as.
Oh, of course. Chris and I have definitely talked about music because we do both love old music. Dire Straits is like the anthem of my life. It feels
It's like he listed that and Stevie Nicks as his two.
Totally.
Favorites.
Yeah, we did. We connected. He has an amazing music collection and a very impressive knowledge of all things oldies. But I could go on forever. I love music. I love lyrics. I love seeing music. Yeah. We went to Willie Nelson's 90th birthday bash at the where was it? It was in LA. It was, I forget where we even saw. Anyway, it was amazing. And we saw, it was a 2-day event. It was at the Hollywood Bowl, of course. And it was this 2-day event, and it was this big old like birthday party for Willie Nelson with every artist under the sun that I could imagine wanting to see. And I was just in shock the entire time. I kept looking to my husband being like, is this who we're seeing right now? Keith Richards walks out at one moment. We were like, what is happening? And it was funny because everybody
Keith Richards.
His bandana first. We're like, who's this old guy with the bandana walking on stage? And everyone at once, the whole audience like stood up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because it's literally Keith Richards.
Because it's Keith Richards. But of course, you're like, it's Willie Nelson's birthday. It's one legend to another. Of course he's going to show up.
Right.
So that was, that's one of the most memorable concert experiences.
Yeah. That sounds insane.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
If you had to leave everybody with like one thought or something you want them to know about Edie Martell on One Calls the Heart, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. One thing I would want people to know about Edie. I think that her heart is in the right place. And I think that she is a good person. And I think I don't think that gives anything away. I know with television shows, you have these new characters come in and you want to maintain a sense of mystery. But I think of what we've seen right now from Edie, I think that I hope that people know that they can trust her, and in a way that doesn't mean she's a perfect person, but I think that she is somebody who wants to do right by herself and her family, and she's someone who is very, she's driven by what is right and what is good.
I think that's a great thought.
Yeah.
And I feel like that fits with Hope Valley. Like, who are these people really at the core, right?
Totally. And I think it's so reflective of all of us. Like, I love to think about the good in people. You know, there's so much happening in the world at all times that I think that if we focus that a vast majority of people are just trying to do right by themselves and the people that they love, and they are wanting to make decisions that, lead to a better world for themselves and for their children. And I think that Hope Valley it's like a reflection of the best in all of us. And I think that Edie is, she's aligned with that way of being, I think.
Love that.
Yeah, it's
so good.
Exciting to get to know Edie this season, and exciting to get to know you now.
Yes,
the family now.
Oh my gosh, so. I'm so excited to be here. It's been such a fun journey, like chatting with Hardies and people who care so much about the show, who know so much about the show than I do. I feel like I'm learning so much too. Of course, when I've done all of my research and backstories, but there's such an impressive human encyclopedias for all things Hope Valley that I'm very very grateful for.
Yes, at least 2 million.
At least minimally.
Who will correct any wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They will let you know the history.
I will humbly cede to those folks.
That's funny. Well, thank you so much, Miranda, for being here, and thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
That's you.